look at this LED pattern, you notice that the color of the LEDs keeps changing all the time. In fact, see carefully, there are two levels of color change happening here. First of all the LEDs are appearing in a different color. We actually saw this earlier. But interestingly here, the basic color, or say the base color of the rightmost LED also is changing as the time goes. So as a result, the entire thing is very, very dynamic, and it's quite colorful, looks quite beautiful. We are enhancing the bit by bit project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. In this video, we'll see how we can create this kind of dynamic colors, which actually are quite nice to look at. Now, like we discussed, there are really two levels of color change that are going on. First is across the LEDs, and this happens inside the inner loop, inner for loop, which is used to build all those LEDs. And we saw this earlier. Basically, we make the color string a function of this KK, and that basically gets the color to change across the LEDs. Now, additionally, on top of this, we have this color change over time, which is for the entire row of LEDs, and this happens with the outer for loop. So this is what we are going to add. Together, taken together, this creates a very nice, artifact, a very, very nice animation as I just showed you. So I get back here to my code, where I have, like I said, two levels of color change potentially. I'm still using the circular shift left. Basically, this is the innermost for loop, so for KK in range. So right now I've set this to 24, which means the shift to 24, which means that there will be no color change across LEDs. I've added one more of this line. So this was line 155, which is the innermost loop for across LEDs. I've got one more line over here, line 109, which is, remember, across time. So if I change this, basically that goes and changes the base color, of the LED as the time runs. So let's see what happens for both of these. So my initial color here is set to, 255, 255, which is basically yellow. So now let's say I, first disable both of these color changes. So this is 24 and this is also 24. So I expect no changes whatsoever in the color. When I, let's say, run this, in fact, you notice there is no change whatsoever. And you can see that also from the color string, completely static. All the LEDs are coming in yellow color at all times. Now let's say I go and start changing the color in the outer loop. Now what will happen is, remember this is in the outer loop, I will expect that the color across LEDs will not change. However, as the loop runs, the color of the LEDs itself will keep changing. However, you'll see that every LED will have the same color. So when I, let's say, run this, now that's exactly what we see. You see that the color of LEDs, across LEDs, there's no change, but over time there's a change because the outer loop is changing the color here. So it's now become cyan, for instance, become green, become yellow, and so on and so forth. So very nice, but you notice all the LEDs, in fact, are the same color. I can, additionally do this change by just going to the inner loop and saying, okay, well, look, change this, let's say, perhaps by 2. So, this is going to change a little bit fast. Of course, I can try any number. So when I now do this, you can see very clearly how the color is changing here. When I, let's say, run this, now I expect that, look, the color will change, and also across LEDs, I'll see a change in the color. So when I do this, indeed, that's what happens. Across LEDs is no longer the same color, and also the overall color is changing. So very interesting how the two come together to create this entire effect. In fact, later on, we'll extend this to 2 dimensions where this looks even more fascinating, even more, let's say, exciting to look at, right? Very interesting. You see how much we have moved forward from a single, let's say, single color LED to this place where we are changing dynamically colors. You can see the color change happening here through the bitwise operators, very vivid, and of course you can correlate that to what's happening over here. One interesting point is that I'm getting to lots and lots of shades here, but I have no idea what their exact RGB code is. I have no idea what their names are. Just with this bitwise operators, I'm creating this variation, and I think this is really cool. I hope you found this interesting. In general, building activities is a fun way to learn programming, especially for an activity like bit by bit. You see how vivid this has become because we are building this LED matrix activity. Look at our website. We always learn programming through such fun activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.